Hey everybody, so I've got some breaking news for you out there. We've got a new Range Rover. That's right, for all my Land Rover and Range Rover fans watching today, we're talking about the 2024 Range Rover Velar. That's right, one of the most stylish vehicles in the Range Rover portfolio is receiving some changes. Now they call this a new Velar, but I'm going to let you make that decision as you watch this video because there are certainly some changes which you need to know about, but I'm curious as to what you think. Did Range Rover do enough to update the Velar to make it relevant for the 2024 model year? So let's talk about this model. It's kind of hard to believe, but the Velar has been around for nearly 6 years now. It slots between the Range Rover Evoque and the Range Rover Sport, and it is actually one of my favorite designs of any new car out there. I love the low, wide, and sleek stance, and for 2024, it receives some new updates. Now, we're not talking about radical changes here, but there are some changes to be aware of, and there is also updated pricing. So the Range Rover Velar is going on sale. Well, basically now you can build a 2024 Velar through Land Rover's configurator site as this video goes live. So if you're looking to kind of figure out the ways to configure your Velar, now is your chance to do so. So let's talk about some of the highlights. Even though the Range Rover Velar has been around for a minute now, we're looking at a refresh rather than a complete overhaul. So in the press release, they do say new instead of like facelift, but it really is more of a refresh. So there's a new grille design, updated headlights, mainly the daytime running light looks just a little bit different. We're seeing these lights more in line with what we see out of the new full-size Range Rover and of course a new Range Rover Sport. There's a new lower rear bumper with dark accents and a revamped taillight designs. The LEDs have become more of a connected look like the DRLs at the front. Now it is a pretty subtle change, and we can kind of show the current generation to the future model back to back here, so you can kind of see the difference in the front and the rear end. But it's definitely a shift.
It's time to sell our long-term Ford Bronco, and we're doing it over at TFLbids.com. That's right, one of you can be the very proud owner of our 2021 Ford Bronco First Edition. Check it out in the link below.
Now, on the inside, there's a new 11.4-inch curved infotainment screen integrated into the center console. This uses the next generation of Pivi Pro infotainment system technology, and it also offers terrain response 2 for your off-road controls. Now, this system is also capable of over-the-air updates. And there's a much more simplified trim structure. So, more or less, what you see on other Range Rover products. So you get an S, an SE, and an HSE. So there's no HST model. Our Dynamic is now just Dynamic, and it's available on the SE and HSE model. So I love that they're doing this because it's a very simple structure that Land Rover Range Rover has used in the past. They've kind of gone away with in recent years, but now we're going back to that simple S, SE, and HSE branding. And I also loved like how on older models, when you saw an HSE Range Rover from the back, you knew exactly what that was. You saw the HSE badge and you knew immediately that you were dealing with something special. There's also some pricing shifts. So the base Model S gets a little bit more expensive, but the HSE is actually less expensive to start than the outgoing HST. The destination charges are still the same, $1,275, and we'll talk about the overall price in a second. Now let's talk about the powertrain. This model is available in both 2-liter and 3-liter configurations, both 4-cylinder and 6-cylinder models. So the S and the SE get the P250 powertrain. So that's a 2-liter 4-cylinder with 247 horsepower and 269 pound-feet of torque. Now this is interesting. Land Rover says that the P250 gets a new, smoother shifting 8-speed automatic transmission. So, of course, Range Rover known for their kind of comfort, their isolation from the outside world, and hopefully that transmission will deliver on those claims. Now, a 3-liter 6-cylinder mild hybrid engine is optional on the SE and standard on the HSE. So you can't get the 6-cylinder on the base car, and it only comes as the standard engine on the top car. Now, that 6-cylinder is rated at 395 horsepower, 405 pound-feet of torque. It also uses an 8-speed automatic. Now, I've really lived with this engine a bunch of times, and it's a fantastic 6-cylinder. It's very smooth. It delivers just the right amount of torque at the right amount of times. And I love the smooth, silky power delivery of the 6-cylinder. It is a beautiful engine. It really has proven itself in a lot of models, and it continues to do so in this Range Rover Velar. At least I hope it did in the current one. And considering that the Velar is a fairly small vehicle, we're looking at a vehicle that competes with like the Porsche Macan, BMW X4, that kind of thing. We're looking at 6-cylinder, 3-liter 6-cylinder power in a fairly small package, which should motivate this vehicle to some pretty impressive performance. Now let's talk about some other luxury and comfort features. The 24 Range Rover Velar gets a wide range of luxury options, including an optional 750-watt 17-speaker Meridian 3D surround sound system. The Meridian system in the Land Rover Range Rover products, one of my favorite in the industry. Cabin air purification plus with CO2 management and a PM 2.5 air filtration system, and configurable cabin lighting up to 30 colors. There's an active dynamics group standard on the P400. The advanced chassis system will tune the electronic air suspension damping force at each wheel in real time. Of course, this vehicle can be configured with air suspension, which is pretty cool. It's, of course, a staple of Range Rovers for the last couple of decades now. There's also active road noise cancellation, and it still offers Wi-Fi, and you get Amazon Alexa connectivity. A textile interior option is still available if you prefer not to have leather. So we're seeing this trend of folks that want animal-free interiors. Well, there is a textile interior option. I actually really love these new textile interiors. I have one in my current daily driver, the Mini. I've experienced them in some of the recent Volvo products. Really cool. I love that we're not just using the same squeaky leather. I mean, listen to this chair, right? Imagine going on a date and having to deal with that. So I love having that kind of animal-free textile option. And then for those that do want leather, there are 3 new colors: Cloud, Raven Blue, and Deep Garnet. 2 new exterior colors as well, including Premium Metallic Zadar Gray, and Metallic Verisign Blue. So pretty cool that we're getting some new options. Now pricing. So pricing starts at $62,775 for the entry-level P250, including destination. The P250 Dynamic SE, the mid-range with a smaller engine, comes in at $64,875. The P400 Dynamic SE, so mid-range, bigger engine, $71,875, and the P400 Dynamic HSE, top of the line, $79,675, so just under 80 grand. And competition, well, it kind of slots into a couple of different slots, but premium crossover: Audi Q5, BMW X4, maybe up to the X5, perhaps the GLC, Porsche Macan, Genesis GV70, maybe the Lexus RX, and it's also closely related to the Jaguar F-Pace. Now, the current one really is a fantastic vehicle. Now, one thing that is worth noting is it's not quite in line with the off-road capability of the top trim Range Rovers. So both the Sport and the full-size Range Rover have a lot of fundamental off-road capability, like you can get those vehicles with a proper low range. The Velar is single speed only, and of course, we're looking at a large wheel tire package, fancy lower fascias, fancy side skirts. These are not necessarily things you want to be scraping over rocks, but it does have that air suspension capability, so you can raise and lower it, and it does have terrain response. And even without the low range, the Land Rover terrain response system is one of the most impressive on the market. I've experienced it a bunch of times, and it works super well in a variety of situations, just not like big boulders. But if you're looking to go to your campsite or to your cabin, this vehicle should probably take you there with a lot of confidence, especially if you do a tire change. But I still love how the Velar retains the concept car looking proportions of the previous model. I love the smoothed out nature, the sculpted hood, the way you've got this character line that continues along the side and then meets at a taper to the roofline. It really is a very cool looking car, and it is a way to get into a Range Rover, a very comfortable, very premium Range Rover, while saving some money over like a Range Rover Sport. I would love to see an option for a plug-in hybrid and a fully electric model. I was kind of hoping for the 2024 update that we'd see those, especially considering that the full size and the Sport now are getting those really beefy plug-in hybrid systems. But pretty wild to think, in the last short period of time, we're talking last, year and a half, maybe 2 years, we have all new full-size Range Rover, new Range Rover Sport, and now this updated Velar. So they basically refreshed, redone almost their entire lineup in a short period of time, and the Range Rover Evoque isn't all that old either, which is pretty wild. Well, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. A huge thank you to watching this news update, and we'll see you in the next video.